But the Heimerdinger ban makes a lot of sense, so does the Lucian. And actually Lucian bans against Arrow should be expected so far. Just based on his very strong AD carry play, and of course you can see 3. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Solo King 1v1 tournament, of course, here brought to you on Azubu TV. My name is Rapid. You guys are awesome, so thank you for tuning in to the 1v1 match, final one of the day, as Arrow faces off against TrAce. Now, if you're just now joining us, you missed the way that both of these players got to this point in the tournament. Well, of course, you can check out full brackets for the Solo King, heading over to lol.esportspedia.com. It'll be prominently displayed there, and you can check out all the info that you need. But at least for the time being, Solo King has been dominated by players from KT Rolster, of course represented here by Arrow, who took a 2-0 victory over Watch. TrAce with a 2-1 victory over Watch. TrAce with a 2-0 victory over Bunny to meet here in the finals. Ezreal versus Morgana for game number 1, and Arrow losing that matchup. I think that is fairly safe to say. He'll be heading his way all the way back to base. Of course, TrAce probably headed back there as well, just to make sure you start off the lane with as much HP as possible. Minute and a half into the game, minions spawning, and Arrow kind of spawning along with them. We'll walk out of base at a very, I guess, timely time. Generic TrAce a little bit slower out of base. But at the same time, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Already a Tormented Soil skilled up there for TrAce. Doran's Ring with poison utility. Now, we didn't actually get a chance to see Runes and Mastery, so this is going to be a little bit of a different take on Morgana here for TrAce. You know, just trying out different things and trying to figure out exactly how this lane is supposed to work out. As far as TrAce is concerned, you know, it's going to be mostly about the shove game. So you try to push the wave as quickly as possible, but look how quickly Arrow is actually CSing this wave. And while he may not hit every single CS, and I think this is going to be perfect CS on the first wave here for TrAce. Wow! Mystic Shot. I don't know if it's like, you know, these minions are on diets. It's just like super easy to hit between them. But at this point, oh, early level 2 here for TrAce. All right, or for Arrow, TrAce hitting level 2, 1 creep after. But one big advantage that TrAce is going to have is that even though he has 10% passive lifesteal or passive spell vamp, and even though his primary way of dealing magic damage is through Tormented Soil, and that cuts that 10% in thirds, that is still a decent amount of health coming back when you consider that Tormented Soil does go on to basically the entire wave. So good way of getting health back, and we'll see if that sustained advantage favors TrAce, or if maybe there's an early Vampiric Scepter in Arrow's build. But I think that is the build that I've seen AD carries start to sort of evolve over the course of this tournament. Is instead of just stacking up, Doran's Blade after Doran's Blade, you actually hold off a little bit, pick up a longsword on your first trip back, and then build that into a Vamp Scepter, at which point you should theoretically have the strongest, an amount of lifesteal strong enough to withstand just about anything. Teleport coming in off of the very first back here from TrAce. We'll grab a second Doran's Ring, second Doran's Blade, there to kind of counter it out there for Arrow. But the bigger advantage is that the primary pushing power here from Morgana is represented by her mana pool. And now, oh, Arrow, look at that damage being put back onto TrAce. No AP or anything crazy like that, but getting off a good quarter of his HP. Keeping an open mind as far as this matchup's concerned, should be TrAce favored, but with Arrow playing this aggressively, of course keep in mind neither laner actually taking Ignite means it's not going to be super aggressive, but you get the idea. Arrow pushing aggressive. Wow, that Dark Biting landed again, and Cannon Minion picked up off the Tormented Soil. Man, TrAce has been landing some pretty choice bindings, if I do say so myself. Looking for another dark binding to land. He hits it again. And I think this point in time, a couple more auto attacks. There's a flash auto to pick up the kill for Arrow. All it's going to take is a Tormented Soil. TrAce walking forward. There's the Tormented Soil. 2 ticks and auto. A narrow escape there by Arrow, or an arrow escape, if you want to look at it that way. TrAce unfortunately does not have Flash as his second summoner spell. It's Barrier. I'm not sure why you'd bring Barrier. Maybe against the all-in case if you're trading really closely, but for Morgana you should be either looking to win off CS, because you have such great pushing power, or maybe win off a kill, and both of those would say maybe run Summoner Heal and then maybe Ignite, but none of them recommend the Barrier. Maybe you just want to avoid getting killed and you run something like Exhaust. I haven't seen an Exhaust at all this tournament, so looking forward to maybe seeing some more aggressive summoner spells, but it is not this day. Wow! Another Dark Binding landing. Oh my goodness. TrAce, you know, he spent his good sweet time practicing, but now things are actually going to work out. Oh, there's Ultimate being Arcane shifted away from. You can see he's just, he's not actually looking for kill potential with ults like that. What he's looking to do is starve Ezreal out, so Arrow won't have a whole lot of health, won't have a whole lot of mana. Where's that Dark Binding? He hits this, I think it's game. Some nice moves by Arrow, just walking right back and forth. TrAce deep underneath the turret. Oh my gosh, he will land it. Could go under there. One last auto attack would be all it would take, but of course, lacking the range, or lacking the summoner spell to flash in on that. That's Arrow head back to base alive. Now, what this is going to do is really kind of seal the deal as far as TrAce's push power is supposed to go. You know, either you'd want to go aggressive with a lot of early AP and then, you know, try for a Soul Shackles, Dark Binding all in to pick up a kill, or you just kind of play slow and steady wins the race. And well, if you were looking to win the race, is TrAce something base. I can't remember exactly what I was supposed to say there, but you get the idea. That turret, very, very low. It has, I don't know, probably like 600-700 HP. Out of 2,500, that's a little bit. At least for the time being, Arrow not necessarily in the driver's seat by any means, and keep in mind, for the Solo King, you do have to be 10 CS ahead of your opponent in order to claim victory past 100 CS, so even though we're starting to get up there in CS, already 64, picked up for Tracy, you know, shouldn't have too devastating of an advantage. Looking for an early fade here. What? I would definitely have expected a Sheen here for Ezreal, but there is True Shot Barrage. Gonna miss one CS. No, actually hits them all. Off of that wave, only now about a wave behind. When you look at things, Arrow heading back to base, does have teleport available. Nice scrying orb usage there for TrAce, really pushing Arrow not only to stop his recall, but also, wow, oh my god, Dark Bindings hitting all day, front, left, right, back, and center. I don't know how that phrase goes, but you get the idea. Oh, and actually an immediate teleport back into a cannon minion. TrAce is just going to immediately ult Arrow, force the Arcane Shift out of here. We'll hit that. Dark Binding actually will hit a creep, and oh, some brief lag there for a second, but Arrow, one Dark Binding away from certain untimely demise. TrAce hitting the barrier. He's just gonna kill the turret. And, you know, Arrow's gonna die there too to a Dark Binding, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. TrAce, turrets and cookies crumbling simultaneously.